Hello, class, and welcome to week 5. It's hard to believe we're halfway through the term, but yet that is where we find ourselves. I wanted to start off by just saying if you are having difficulty with UCU, and a couple of you have reached out to me as it pertains to your discussion posts, either being unable to comment on your peers' discussion post or even being unable to see what you've written to your peers, please reach out to me and let me know. We have become aware of an issue with UCU. But the more feedback we get, we could possibly be able to help sooner. So if you have any UCU issues, please reach out and let me know. Our quote this week comes from one of my most favorite poems, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. And it asks important questions, and one of them is, do I dare disturb the universe? And that could mean a number of things to you. To me, it always makes me think about changing the status quo, or how can I be different? How can I be a change agent? This week, you have some really interesting material that sort of really assist in the course. One is a TED Talk that students tend to gravitate toward. They really appreciate the TED Talk by Tiffany Jana, and so I'm very curious to hear your responses to that. The second is a case study that is one that students tend to remember. It's particularly charged and for some students extremely challenging. And so I'll be curious to read your responses to that also. When it comes to your case studies, please don't forget to use the critical elements in the rubric as headings. That way you do not forget to address each of the major areas. This is going to be extremely important as you look to your final project. You have 2 cases to choose from, Butch or Vu, and both of those cases are extremely complicated and complex. Using those critical elements as headings helps you to organize your paper and articulate your thoughts very clearly. So that's my sort of advice to you. And again, the case this week tends to challenge students, and so I'm looking forward to reading your responses. As we think about this week, I wanted to say that in terms of your week 3 assignments, I really appreciate how a number of you called out the Daryl Sue quote about if you make a blunder in session, it's not about covering up, it's how you recover. And I wanted to impress upon you the vulnerability of the client's seat. So as we were thinking about client's otherness, when I teach this course on ground, and even when I teach the helping skills course on ground, I do this activity where I ask students to write down on a little piece of paper the deepest secret that they have. I often tell students this was something that you probably only told one person or nobody, something that you promised yourself you were going to take with you to the grave. And so I ask students to write that secret down. I tell them to fold the secret up, and I ask them if I can have it. Now, some students are so upset or so fearful, they won't even hand me the sheet of paper. Most students hand it over reluctantly or in fear. I never read what the students write. I keep the papers folded up, and I just ask the students, what was it like to write down your darkest secret, and for me just to hold it in my hand. And this activity sort of simulates what we expect from our clients when they come sit across from us. We just expect someone is willingly going to sit across from us and, with pleasure or without any hesitation, just open up to us and share their deepest, darkest secrets or things that they have never shared to anyone. And when you're in such a vulnerable state, you often are extremely perceptive or aware of your surroundings. And so, yes, something small as a counselor frowning if a client discloses a sexual orientation, or a shift in body language if a client discloses, maybe some illegal activity, could speak volumes to the client. And so I like how you all called out that Daryl Sue quote, because it is about recovering. And so sometimes our biases aren't, that you are racist or you are sexist. Sometimes our biases really align with our values. And when a client says something that rubs up against our values, you might have a response that a client who's in a vulnerable position is very attuned to, because they do feel that otherness. And so I just wanted to put that out there. I hope you all have a good week. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns with the content or the materials this week. I really enjoyed your growth and progress. And don't forget, as you continue to do your discussion posts, to utilize the class resources in your responses. Thanks.